very early in the morning. Hi all you beautiful people. I'm going to talk a little bit more about prayer and about God and about the love, the light and the dark. It's very fascinating, I think. I'll just take the camera. I think this is better because then, yeah, I'm more in on the screen. It's just so it's so incredible how you can keep talking about the same thing. It's just so wonderful in a way. It's like in the beginning when you realize that there is a different way of seeing life, and that God exists, or the light, the one light that created all, that is all goodwill, exists. And in the beginning you can't see it, and then you get this tiny little, it's like a little window or a little opening, and when you start sort of scratching or just go there and keep focusing on it, you suddenly realize there's a huge world you couldn't see before. And that's because we've all been in the dark for so long that we think that this is real. And really we're told it's not even real. The dark is not even there. We've made it all up. It's not true. So strange. So I'll try and continue here make a little series called The Power of Prayer. So this is number 2. So going from where we came yesterday, or from the first video, what I forgot to say about when we start to awaken, and we go to all these seminars and we listen to all these spiritual teachers, and you can see on the internet how all these spiritual teachers become very popular, and some of them on their website, you see this picture of them standing up on a stage, and you just see these thousands of people listening. And it is very wonderful when somebody brings this wisdom to earth, so that it can help them in their awakening process. But the danger can be, see, the thing is, in a way it gets easier and easier, but in another way it gets more and more tricky. So you can easily actually end up being pulled into the dark, although you think that you're on this great spiritual path and you must be in the light. And the danger with having a spiritual teacher, or somebody who's like a channeler, who you go to, I've been seeing a man who's channeling Cryon, which is very fascinating and wonderful in many ways. But the danger is, the thing is that people can get, how can I say this? People get to believe that the wisdom comes from someone else. The wisdom they're seeking and the answers they're seeking come from a different human being than themselves. And this, I believe, in a way is dangerous, because what we really need to learn is to open the doors to our own inner library, or this ocean of wisdom that's in us. Because the deepest and most profound wisdom, the most important wisdom that you need, will never come from someone else. They can only ever point to the wisdom in you. So when Jesus says, go to your inner sanctuary, go in there and shut the door, and be with your Father who is in secret and he will reward you. It's because it's necessary. And it's very difficult for us to find the door to our heart and into this deep wisdom that lies in there. And as he also says, the road to hell or to darkness is very wide and very easy, and lots of people are going that way, so just go with it. Go with the crowd, and you go deeper into darkness. That's easy. Going into heaven, going into the light of God is difficult. It's as difficult for a camel to go through a needle's eye. And only just recently I found out what that meant. I thought it was just, what do you call it, an image of how difficult it is. But actually, the needle eye was in the old cities. They had the town wall. There would be these little holes that were protecting them from the outside, from the enemy, and they were the gateways into the city, and they called them needle eyes. And a camel could go through, but the camel would have to go down on its knees and sort of crawl in. And that was the picture he used, Christ, because it is hard. It's very hard to reach this place inside you, but it is possible. And of course, we see this in life. Everything that's very, very beautiful and very, very does really, really enrich our lives is usually hard to get. What's easy to get does not have the same value often. So anyway, what I feel we're really being called to do is learn the art of letting go of the outside world and going into this inner place where the power lies. The greatest power that exists on this planet for you is in here. And so this, I believe, the way we go here is to start to pray. So we're going to go more into this, but I want to just touch on the whole thing of living in the dark and living in the light, which I think is just, it just came to me very strongly this morning. And this is another thing that Jesus says, as you believe, so it will be. And he also says that everything that's making you sick comes from within you. It's all the negative beliefs, all the negative, beliefs, ideas, negative emotions that are stuck in there that are actually ruining your life. And so what you can see, I can just say from my own personal journey, because I've said this before, I grew up in Australia, was born in Australia and lived there till I was 7. And as you know, if you've travelled, there is just a different energy in each country on the earth. And each place has its own beauty. And the reason why we came to Denmark when I was actually 8 was because my mother and father got divorced, and it was difficult for my mother to stay in Australia, and she wanted to go home. My parents come from Denmark. And I get emotional just talking about this, but when I came to Denmark, I got a shock. I couldn't believe it. The people, see, the first people I met was my family, the different members of my family, my mother's family, and it was shocking to experience the energy of people. So to me, as an 8-year-old girl, they seemed like they were mad, and they were lost, and they were in a way hysterical. It's like they were a little bit, it seemed insane. and very scary. So I felt that they were all emotionally all over the place, but you couldn't connect with them. The hearts weren't open. The warmth and the love and the connection wasn't there. And I came from, my mother had become a Christian then, and I came from an energy that was much higher in a way, and that's what I sensed as a child. There was a lighter energy, and there was more love, more connection. There was just simply more love that was shining from people's hearts. And you felt the connection, you felt you were seen as a child, and that people seem much more sane. So, and why is this? Is it because Danes are stupid people, or what is it? Well, one of the reasons I believe is that Danes have not been a very religious, not that religion can be a big problem, but they have not been a worshipping people for many, many years. They don't have deep faith. And so, actually there's a lot of non-believers in Denmark, and that can be one of the reasons. But really, basically, it's very simple. It's because the deeper you go into the darkness, the worse everything gets. And children pick up this very quickly. And although religion can be very, very bad in many ways, when you open your heart to God, to the fact that there's more than there is in this physical world, and you become a believer and you start to pray, something happens to you. And there's a goodness, the goodness that is in your heart shines out more easily. So the people that I experienced, that I got this shock from meeting, were people who are very, very embedded in darkness. And of course they didn't know, and it's not because they were bad people in any way. But see, this is what happens to us. The darkness is what we're brought up in and we think is real. And people who are in the darkness, it's like it is two worlds, and they've been here all along, really. And 2,000 years ago, Jesus came to tell us that the other world is there. It's the world of love, and it's in your heart. So even then, we were embedded in darkness. So human beings have been in the dark for a very, very long time. And that's why it's so difficult for many of us to get out of it, because it feels so real and feels so right. And there are laws of the darkness and laws of the light. And what I can see from the people that I've been surrounded by for all these years, and the way of thinking in this northern country, and where the darkness is quite strong, the belief is that life is really not really that fun. I mean, and that you're just going to have to accept it. That life is really actually a struggle. And you can sort of gloss it up with a little holiday, going south, going to the sun, having a good time with some friends, drinking, doing something, and it will sort of lift the spirits a bit. But you're just going to have to accept that life is actually really quite horrible. And that's sort of a law. And if you start believing in God or something, or believing in something you can't see, and actually believing that life is meant to be very beautiful, you're being stupid. You're actually being silly, because it's not true. The truth is that life is actually, not real fun. And the fact that you're going to get sick some way or the other is just a law. You're just going to have to accept it, take something to try to sort of dim the pain, dim the experience, and you're just going to have to get on with life. See, this is some of the laws. This is what came very strongly to me this morning. And of course, one of the greatest ones in the darkness, one of the laws, is that you as a person are actually have no value. And if you want to try to convince people that you are valuable, you're going to have to try to prove it by becoming something. You have to do some education, you have to train to be something, you have to have a wonderful voice, wonderful body, whatever, so that you convince people that you are valuable, because you are not valuable. And you definitely don't hold wisdom. So don't try to come and tell anyone anything except if you have some sort of paper showing that you know something. So of course this is when people have these deep-seated beliefs that this is the way life is and this is who I am, that's what's going to happen. And just for my own personal journey, I knew this wasn't true. I knew with all my heart, this is not true. So of course I felt like an alien. I felt strange in this but now I can see it so much more clearly, that this is a deep-seated belief system that's in my society, and the fact that you actually don't talk about God either, because if you start talking about God, you've gone off the deep end, because now you're being really, really silly to believe that there's anything apart from what we can see. And so this is the darkness, this is the laws of the darkness. And yes, that's what I can see now. When people are completely rooted in this way of thinking, and they deeply have decided that this is the truth, this is what's going to be the truth, of course, and this is what they're going to experience. But the thing is, it is not the truth. And I won't sit and discuss with them, because there's no use doing that, because when you've decided that this is the way life is, it's just going to be like that. But the beautiful thing, and the reason why the light will conquer the darkness, is that deep down in these people's hearts, the light shines. And they know that it's all a lie. They know deep, deep down. And that's for some of these people who have held on to the darkness all their lives. The moment they're dying, just before they die, they go, "Oh, that's right. I am actually deeply loved and valuable, and life was actually meant to be a very, very beautiful experience. And I had actually come here to shine my light. So now I let go. I let go of the darkness." And they surrender to the light just before they die. But how sad to go to the very end and then surrender. So what I'm all about is to help people to see that, oh, that's right, if I start to just relax and stop saying, well, this is the rule, and this is the rule, and this is the way it is, just let it go, you can feel this sweetness in your heart. And that is the light of God shining in you. And it's very difficult in the beginning, because you're so used to holding on to the old rules. But as soon as you feel this beautiful ease and peace and loveliness from within you, you start to let go. I just love this. I love talking about this. So before we go on with the prayer, going into prayer, I'll just do a little thing here. I had this feeling I hadn't pushed the button. Let's have some tea. See, when you go into worship, and really that's what God really, to connect with God, you can do it the most simple way. And and you can use the words of Christ again, it's only by becoming a child you're going to step into heaven. And how do you become this child? Well, first of all, you let go of all the rules of the darkness. You just let go. Let go and be. And when you go into worship, where you sing, I mean, in freedom, and you have this a lot in the free churches where they're standing there and they're dancing and they're just letting go. The problem is, in these places, they have their fixed rules, and if you don't abide to their rules, you're not welcome. So you can just see what God really wants, as I feel it. This is all just how I feel it. Is like a little child standing in a field, or just standing in nature and just raising her arms and saying, "Ah, thank you, God. Thank you for all the flowers," or just enjoying the flowers, not even saying anything, just dancing around and loving life. That is a prayer. So, but when we're adults and we've been in the darkness for a very long time and life has become very heavy and we are only just starting to sense the light in us and the light everywhere, going into worship is very, very powerful. And whatever way you can allow yourself to do it. But I mean, just going out into your garden and dancing around, let the neighbours laugh, let whoever wants to laugh, just dance around and sing. It's so powerful. Or just dance around and say, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's worship in its most pure form. So, whatever way you sense, you can set yourself free to just sing thank you or glory be to you. Is very, very powerful, and that is probably the most powerful prayer there is. So I'll just start to worship right now, and I've done this many times in my videos, but I'll just start now, just as I do when I'm going around, especially when I'm milking. I do this a lot, but yeah, usually I'm singing when I'm going around. So just go into worship. Oh, glory be, oh, glory be, oh, glory be to you, my Lord. Oh, glory be, oh, glory be, oh, glory be to you. Oh, glory be to you, my Lord. Oh, glory be to you, my Lord. Oh, glory be to you, my Lord. Oh, glory be to you. Oh, glory be to you, my Lord. Oh, glory be to you, my Lord. Oh, glory be to you, my Lord. Oh, glory be to you. La 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 la. It's just a little example, and I can just feel it in my body. It's profound. It's so beautiful. And yeah, that was just one way of doing it. It could just be, glory be to you, my Lord. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Whatever way you feel your voice wishes to express itself, or your body wishes to express itself, to just feel the gratitude and send your gratitude, send your thanksgiving into the sky. That's how simple it is. And what happens is, for us, as I said in the video about shining our bright light and where to start, you cut through. This action, this, you decide, I wish to send my thanks into space, into heaven, towards God, whatever you wish to call it. I wish to send my gratitude out of my heart. When you do that, the darkness dissolves. It can't be there. All the laws that I was just mentioning about life is actually not real fun. You are actually without any real value. You're just going to have to pull yourself together. All this, it just cannot be in that light space. You step into the world of light, and you step completely out of the dark. And of course, when you've been deeply rooted in the darkness for a long time, when you start doing this simple thing once a day, twice a day, you change. Your life changes completely. The light, and you can also say you step into the light, or you open a big door, so the light shines into all the darkness, and the darkness is gone. So this is what happens. Darkness is only lack of light. So the only reason why those laws became so heavy and so real to you was because you didn't let the light in. And when you don't go into a very simple worship like this, the light just beams in. And what happens to a dark room when you open a door or pull the curtains aside? The light comes in and the darkness is gone. It wasn't. Where did it go? It's not there because it doesn't exist. Because where the light is, there cannot be darkness. So you feel your body. Of course, when you're in that dark space, your body is very burdened because it's against the laws of your body even, because your body knows the light and knows that you're here to live in the deepest and most beautiful joy that exists. Your body, the rules of your body, which are the rules of your heart, is that life is endlessly beautiful, and so are you. So when you give your body rules like you are useless, you are, and life is bad, the body is in hell in a way. The body is struggling against the tide because you're working against the laws, the real laws of life, which are the laws of the light. So let me just mention, I've mentioned the laws of the darkness. The laws of the light is that you are God and you are the light. And nothing can ever destroy you. And you are eternal. And you have the power to heal the entire universe. One person. Because you hold the power of God. And you are here to unfold this light and to deeply enjoy being. Life is, in itself, equals the greatest joy of all. Life is beauty, life is oneness. We're not separate. Over here in the darkness, of course, you're separate and you're alone. You're going to have to find someone to be with because you're always alone. That's, of course, the greatest lie, because you are never alone. You are one with all. You're never, ever alone. The heart is just calling out, we are one, we are one. I am part of this beautiful, beautiful place. Yeah, the laws of the light are, that you are God and all is well. And that you have the ability to create something that is so profoundly beautiful and wonderful that's never even been here. So, and you hold all the wisdom that exists in your heart. So, and your presence on earth right now is deeply important. There's not one speck of you that is not important. You are deeply valuable, even if you're completely, you're a vegetable and you can't even think. You hold the light of God. So your value is, you cannot discuss your value because it is endless. And you are deeply loved, and you have always been loved. And you will never not be loved. And love is who you are. And over here in the darkness, of course, one of the laws is you're not loved, and to be able to be loved, you're going to have to deserve it. And this is not the laws of the light. Yeah, this became a long video. It's just, oh, I just love talking about this. So this was just a little example and just showing you how when you go into very simple worship, which is just sitting and saying thank you, you can feel in your body you change. And the way you change is that you let go of the tension, you let go of everything that could be darkness that you're holding on to, and you feel that you are the light. And that's where God wants you to be all the time. So, but we start, this is a good way to start. And then we can go more into prayer and, yeah, talk much more about it. But this was just what I wanted to share this morning, and I send you all my love, and I wish for you that you feel the light shining in your heart and just filling your body and your life with pleasure and goodness and bliss. I wish for you that you feel it more and more. So, see you soon.